Okay, so now let's type in git status on branch master, nothing to commit, meaning since we cloned this application, we haven't made any changes to the code or any of the files that Git is currently tracking. Okay, so you check that by typing in git space status. Now what happens when I update this readme file? So go ahead and update this and type in test Rails blog app and then enter in your name. So I'm going to enter in mine and then hit save. Okay, once I do that, what happens now? If I type in git status again, there you go. It says modified readme.rdoc. So it's basically tracking all the files in the application since it came with a Git repository already initialized. Okay, so how are we going to accept this update? We do that by adding it. So git add -a. You can also do git add dot, but I'm going to do git space add space -a and hit return. Now if I type in git status again, okay, now it says the changes are ready to be committed. Now I'm going to make that commit by saying git commit and then -m for a message. And let's think up a good commit message. I'm going to say clone repo and modify readme. Okay, one file changed. It's tracking that. It's now committed. So let me type in git status again. See, nothing more to commit. Okay, great. Now, what I want to do is create a repository for this blog app. And I want you to do it in your own repository, meaning your own GitHub account. And you don't have that yet. So let's go ahead and create that. So to do that, go to your GitHub account. And then there's this plus sign here that basically lets you create new repository. Click that, new repository. Name it. I already have a blog app here, so I'm going to call it blog new. Then description. You can leave this as public and then click create repository. And here, I want you to click on this SSH link. When you signed up for your GitHub account, you had added your SSH key to your account. So by clicking on this, you won't have to type in your username or password every time you push code to your repository. Okay, so now if you scroll down, it says push an existing repository from the command line. So go ahead and copy this line over here. Now go back to your application and then paste it here and hit return. Okay. Now if we type in git remote -v, now we see the origin has been set and it's pointing to the Rails Udemy course. All right, now let's check out what it's asking us to do next. Next command is git push u origin master. So let's copy that. And paste it in. All right, it's all done. See, it didn't ask you for a username or password. If you had left it as a HTTPS link, it would have asked you for that. Okay, so now how do we know that the code got pushed here? So if you click on this again, or you refresh the page, you see your code is there. And it has the updated readme.rdoc file also, the update that we made. All right, so first thing I want to do now is in the application, I want to check the routes file. And I want to see how information is flowing through the application, okay? So we saw in our application, it goes to a root file, we click on the blog, and then it brings you here to listing articles. How is that happening? So if we look at the routes file, Rails projects, blog app, then config. If you look at the routes file, the root is welcome controller index action. That's what this is specifying. So under app, there's a welcome controller. The welcome controller has an index action right here, which in other words means a method that says index. Okay. Now there's not too much code here. What's happening here? By default, by Rails convention, this is looking for a view under views with a welcome directory under which, right here, there would be an index.html.erb file right here that says hello Rails. It links to the blog page and then the articles link. So if you go to the root, that's what's happening. So there's the hello Rails, there's the link. Now this is going to go to the articles link, right? So instead of clicking here, if I just type in /articles, it goes to the same page, the listing articles page. All right, so I want to check this out in terms of the MVC diagram that we talked about earlier. So the user is issuing a request to go to the root directory. Okay, and the root is pointing to the welcome controller index action, which linked to the listing articles page. Once we clicked on that link, the router sent us to the articles controller, and then from the articles controller, the index action basically communicated with the article model. Let's check that out. And the article model then went to the database. Actually, it'll be easier if I just show you here. In the articles controller, the index action communicated with the article model. Okay, the article model picked up all of the articles from the database and then stored it in this @articles instance variable. And then the controller took this instance variable and sent it to the views articles index.html.erb file here. And then there is this loop here, so it iterated through each article of the articles instance variable, and then it displayed it, which is what's happening here. Okay? So I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what's happening here. I'll go through it again because it's very important to grasp this. The browser is issuing a request for the root, which points to the welcome controller. Okay? When you click on the link for the articles, Rails routes the /articles to the index action in the articles controller. The index action asks the article model to retrieve all the articles with that line of code that says article.all. The article model pulls all the articles from the database and then returns the list of the articles to the controller, and then the controller captures the articles in the @articles instance variable, which it then passes to the index view, okay? The index.html.erb, and then the view uses embedded Ruby to render the page as HTML. So at this point, I want you to play around with the blog app. And then as you request a URL, which means when you click on a link, I want you to write out how you think the information had flowed through the app using the steps we just discussed. And as homework, I would like you to go through a page, which is the routes page on guides.rubyonrails.org/routing.html. Once you've gone through that, I want you to start thinking about the design of our My Recipes app, which is our main project for this course. So when a user goes to our page, we want them to go to a landing page like this one. And to have that landing page, in other words, a home page, we'll need a home page route for it. So I want you to think about what information or code we would need to add to our routes file to make our application go to the home page once a user visits our site's URL. And in the next lesson, we're going to build on that. We'll set up the route for the home page, and we'll also create a mock-up of the home page using an online wireframing tool called Mockingbird. Let's check out Mockingbird right now. Go here. Let's go mockingbird.com. Okay, once you're here, sign up for an account. They have free accounts. And then you click launch. Once the page loads up, I want you to get familiar with using the widgets here on the left, dragging them here, and then basically designing a home page. Get comfortable using it, and then once you think up the design for the home page, I want you to make it not exactly what you envision, but at least close to it. And then we're going to start finalizing the design in our next lesson. See you there.